I started telling Natalie, my wife, I started telling her, I got to go to work.
Yeah, it's work.
And it's like, you're going to play in a band and you're entertaining people and you're calling it work.
Right.
And I was just like, yeah, because I'm kind of getting tired of it. And she was like, they got the golden handcuffs on you.
Yeah,
you're making really good money.
You're making money.
It's hard to
golden
do.
handcuffs, I didn't know. That's a term.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah. Man. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Dangerous Gym Show. I am Jim Miller, struggling to get in a proper position here behind the microphone. Thanks for listening, tuning in, whatever you're doing. If you're out there and you're listening in your headphones, there's a really cool video rolling right now. I'm wearing the sequin jacket. I'm spinning around. I'm doing a lot of fun stuff. If you're watching on TV, hello. Welcome to the Dangerous Gym Show. A lot of people ask me, why are you calling it? A lot of people want to know why I'm calling it the Dangerous Gym Show. The reason for that is because if you Google it, there's two other people out there. There's a Jim Miller that's a UFC boxer, and there's also a Jim Miller that was a quarterback for football. So just to understand that, number one, I guess Dangerous Gym's my brand. I don't know. I mean, you tell me about that part, but also, it's just the way it's going to be. Thank you so much for Joe Riley. Hear that background music right there? That's Joe Riley. That's his song, Invading Yeti. If you're interested in Joe Riley, you can go to joerileymusic.com and you can check out everything that Joe Riley does. He's got a record deal and all that kind of stuff. So super happy to be allowed to use his music for the podcast today. So hope everybody's enjoying it. And I need to thank my staff, of course, or not my staff, but the people that we all work together, my teammates here at URock 2 Studios. We're here at URock 2 Studios. My friend Zeke Plymester. Zeke, how do you say that anyway? What's your last name? Let me say it. Zeke Plymester. And Scott Ellis is here. Scott's lovely wife, Tiffany Garfinkel, helped with some decorations. We're not working in the decorated room today, but Tiffany was nice enough to do some nice decorating here at URock Studios. And also my partner, Nick Dream, who hooks up all this stuff. Thanks to Nick Dream for making that happen. If you're listening or watching right now, you also can do a podcast right here, just how I'm doing it. We have cameras. We have a million different places within this large facility that if you want to make a podcast, we can give you your own intro music of any type. You can develop any look you want on any type of set. We can give you a producer if you want a producer. If you have your own producer, you can do it that way too. The message from me today about our studios is you can do it too. And if you want to rent, if you want to come in here and do your own podcast, feel free to do that. We got you covered right here at URock. So you probably can do it better than me. Today is going to be a pretty good show. A couple things I wanted to tell you about first. If you're watching or listening, we have an email set up. It's called askdangerousgym@gmail.com. So if you have any questions for me about any subject of any type, I'm in recovery. I've been playing in a band for a long time. I raised 4 kids. I feel like I know a lot about a lot of different things. So if you want to ask me anything, askdangerousgym@gmail.com. I am going to have an award show. The Dangerous Gym Show Awards Show is going to be coming up at the end of the year. I'm not even sure what awards I'm going to be giving yet, but we're going to do that. Additionally, remember I told you about the askdangerousgym@gmail.com. askdangerousgym@gmail.com. My experience in going out around the local music community, is that there's all kinds of bands out there, but most of my friends, just like me, old guys, so there's old guys out there. And what I'm looking for is some young talent. Where are the good young bands? Somebody explain that to me. Where are the good young bands? I'm looking for young talent. Somebody send me an email, askdangerousgym@gmail.com, askdangerousgym@gmail.com. Where are the good young bands, man? Everybody I know, every band I know is getting Social Security, man. Like we talk about replacing hips, what time Medicare kicks in, Social Security, all that stuff, man. And one common thing between us and all the old guys, we appreciate the gigs start earlier, man, from 7 to 11. Super happy about that. So today is going to be a fantastic show. My longtime friend, Tim Anderson, formerly of Stain, not Stained, but Stain. Before Stained was a band, not Stain, but Stained. You got just the band Stain. And then he happened to play for quite some time. And I'm not sure if you've heard of these guys or not. Zeke, let me know if you've heard of these guys or not. They're called the Naked Karate Girls. Yeah. So So my
Worked
friend,
with them quite a few times.
have you? What has been your experience in working with the Naked Karate Girls?
It's always an interesting show.
How much do they pay you? How much do they pay you more than other bands?
No.
Well, not what you're used to making. Yeah. So Zeke, if you guys don't know, he has a production company. Zeke, now would be a perfect time to promote your big PA production company before we dive into the rest of the show. Tell us everything about it.
Well, as you know, me and you are neighbors.
Yes.
My shop is right next to yours.
Yes, it is.
I can handle everything from 100 people to a couple thousand.
I love that, man.
So PA, lighting, staging.
I'd love to just play a show for a couple thousand people. It's been a while since I've done that. But Tim Anderson from the Naked Karate Girls has done that many times. So we're going to find out everything we can find out about my buddy Tim Anderson, from his childhood to his high school, from his band Stain, who I worked with and played many gigs when Tim was in his band Stain, to how the Naked Karate Girls started, and talk about their heyday. And I have a lot of questions for my buddy Tim Anderson. That's going to be coming up right after the break.
Hey, you. Yeah, you sitting right there thinking that I could do a podcast way better than this guy. Well, you know what? You can. You can do it right here at U-Rock Studios in Forest Park, Ohio. We've got mics. We've got lights. We've got people like me who know what all the fancy buttons do. And we can make your content stand out. You can rent out the studio, make it all happen here yourself, or you can just bring the ideas, bring the content, and we'll take care of the rest as a team. Whether it's your first podcast or if you just want to level up the one that you're already doing, U-Rock Studios is the place to make that happen. So stop thinking about it and just do it. If you're interested, shoot us an email here at askdangerousjim@gmail.com and we'll get the ball rolling.
It's awesome. Tim Anderson, everybody. Isn't this exciting? It's the Dangerous Jim Show. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Cheers.
Welcome back. So here we are with Tim Anderson.
Afternoon.
Super happy to have you.
Thank you.
It's almost like between two ferns with these things.
Yes.
Not exactly. Thanks. I do a lot of selling. I do a lot of talking about myself on this show.
Well, you got to pay for this somehow.
That's right. So
yeah. If
you're out in video or audio world, if you're in audio world, hopefully you're exercising or doing something fun. What I'm doing is I'm holding up a copy of the most recent Dangerous Jim and the Slims album, Calamity and Serenity, Volume 1. Calamity and Serenity, Volume 1. You can go to dangerousjimandtheslims.com to get that. It's got 5 songs on it. It's on blue vinyl.
This is the coolest part.
Isn't that neat? Side A, side B. More cool than that, we got it made at this place called Gotta Groove Records in Cleveland.
Okay.
Now, you may not know this, but a lot of times when you make vinyl albums, they send it out. It goes out overseas, man, you know?
Really?
You can't have that. It's going out overseas. So, and you know where it goes? Czechoslovakia.
Really?
Did you know that that's like a vinyl album capital of... So they send it out. So we couldn't have our shit going to Czechoslovakia. So we paid more.
One of my funnest feeds I like to see is them take it's called a puck, the plastic.
Yeah.
And they put it into that big press.
Yeah.
But they'll it's like they'll take this big puck of blue and then they take a bunch of white crystal pieces and put it onto it. And then they put it in there, smash it together, and then you come out with that. And it's like so fun to watch.
Well, I went there to it. Again, Gotta Groove Records, Cleveland, Ohio. I went there, and I'll show you some videos when we take a break.
Oh, yeah.
But I went there and watched. I went inside and did everything you could possibly do. I wanted to get the whole experience, so I drove down there to pick them up, and it was real exciting, man. So welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming, man. I've been a fan of yours for quite some time.
Yes, we've known each other for quite a while.
Yeah, and so this is Tim Anderson. He started off, maybe the band you may know him best from is a band called Stain. Stain, that's probably your biggest and best band you've been in so far.
Yes.
Yes, Stain. So if you don't know, Tim and I grew up. We've grown up playing music together. So I do appreciate you having here.
Yes.
I'm sure you guys know, Tim's for a long time. How many years?
How long
were you in the Naked Karate Girls?
Naked Karate Girls is 17 years.
17 years. So Tim played in the Naked Karate Girls for 17 years. He has now moved to the Whammies. So got a couple questions for you before we dive into the meat of the show. Number 1, death row meal. What would you, if you were going to eat a final meal, what would it be?
King crab legs.
King crab legs? Is that it?
I can
just
eat.
King crab?
I love crab. I love it. It's the act of getting to the meat. To the meat.
Yeah, back to the meat. Yeah, I get it.
I love that, and a good steak is always, you can't go wrong.
So a little high level surf and turf.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, if you're going to see one band in concert right now, if you get and they may be dead or gone. I mean, because and I'll ask you a little bit more about this, but when you see the Naked Karate Girls, no one could really know what kind of music you really like. So,
Right.
Who would you see in concert if you had to see somebody?
If I had to see somebody in concert, I think it would be really cool to see. First thing that comes to mind is Beatles.
Beatles,
I think
of course.
that would be a really cool one to see.
Yeah.
I would say, well, I'd love to see Nirvana live in concert. I would have loved to have seen that.
Right.
But I just got to, I don't know, the audio geek in me is like, I bet it would just sound like shit,
Yeah.
And on top of it, they play what they want to play. So I was always told that like they would not play Smells Like Teen Spirit. And of course, everybody's that's a show wanting to hear that one song.
Yeah.
But I think that
Beatles and Nirvana.
I think Beatles would just be an awesome show to see, just minus all the screaming women, that they always had.
I get it. Well, yeah, I get it, man. So
I think
this is a high production show. So
Yes.
watch this. Zeke, drum roll, please. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to dive into, say it with me, the meat. Time to dive into the meat of the show. Okay,
Yes.
so here's what we're going to do, man. I'm going to take you through your life. I want to understand there's a lot of things. I'm always, a lot of people know about the band.
Yeah.
That's all fine. But I'm more interested in how you got to that. So tell me a little bit about your childhood. Roger
I
Bacon?
would say, nope, I'm not a Roger Bacon boy.
Okay, tell me.
So I'm the youngest of 5
Yes.
at 52. So start doing the math from there. If y'all
right.
want to start doing math and figuring out who's oldest by 12 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're a 12-year span. And yeah, I'm the youngest one of 4 older brothers. No sisters at all. Yeah, we didn't get grounded from the house, or we didn't get grounded to the house.
Right.
We got grounded from the house. Get out of the house. I don't want to see you until the lights have to come on.
I get it, man.
was
And
always
where were
funny.
you growing up? Where was this Anderson family? I'm going to just move this down just a little.
I grew up not too far from here, actually, in Pleasant Run Farms.
Pleasant Run Farm. So Green Hills-ish.
Forest Park.
Green Hills, yeah.
Yeah, Green Hills area.
All right, great.
Hamilton.
And where'd
So,
you
yeah.
guys live? Like, what street were you on in Pleasant?
We were like,
It's just right over here, right?
It's not too far from here. We were at dead center of Pleasant Run Farms at Elkwood and Deerhorn, and we were
Yeah, I
right
know
at the
exactly
corner.
where that is, sure.
Everybody would always pass by, and everybody knew our house and stuff, and so it was
And so you're 52, so that makes you born about 1971?
73.
73, born in 73. So, all right. So
yeah,
you had brother and sisters around the house. What'd your dad do?
my dad
Were
was
you there? Huh? When you were growing up, was everyone there? Was your dad trying to feed 5 people?
Yeah,
Plus your mom?
Yeah, he was. He was a book salesman.
Books, like what kind of books?
Oh, school books.
School books.
School books. So
Scholastic books.
it ticks me off now to this day that I didn't realize that my dad sold books. Silver Burdette was the company to my school.
Yeah.
Well, he had sold the teacher's editions. I had no idea
You easily could have just
that the
known that.
teacher editions from all of grade school was right there in my freaking basement. I
Right.
could, and I'm like, I didn't realize that until later on.
Right.
My dad was like, "Oh yeah, I had the teacher edition down there too.
Yeah.
It was all right there." I'm surprised. He was like, I think he even said, "I'm surprised you never found that."
Let me see, Ezekiel, let me see a picture of Tim and his brothers. And it looks like, I think your dad's in the picture.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure. Let's pull that up. There's the Anderson clan.
There it
now
is.
that's Mr. Did your mom die before this picture?
Unfortunately,
Or was she pissed at you guys and didn't want to go?
no. This was Thanksgiving Day.
Yes.
Of my mom passed away the day prior to this.
Oh, man.
So yeah,
Ouch.
I went deep.
Super ouch for your dad.
I went deep. Yeah, that went
super ouch
deep.
for your dad. I mean, I can tell you that, I lost my mom and it's bad for me, bad for my brothers and sisters, but it's super bad for my dad.
Yeah.
So
He
see,
passed
can I have
away
that
about-
picture again?
He passed
Let me
away
see
about
that again.
12 years ago.
So that's for people looking out there. That's you on the far left with that vest on, right?
with or a printed up shirt, whatever.
There it is. And then there's Greg behind
Greg
you.
right behind
and
me, and
Mr.
then-
Anderson was a book salesman.
But Mr. Anderson, Mr. Roy T. Anderson, RTA.
And now who's behind him?
And then that's Chris behind him.
That's another Anderson. Chris
That's
Anderson.
another, yep. And then there's
Who's that Indian guy?
I know he does look Indian in that picture.
Did you guys adopt? Did your father adopt one Indian
He
person?
looks either Indian or he looks super Greek.
Greek.
Yeah, that's
Is that
David.
Is that your brother? That's
That's
David.
Dave. Yeah.
All right.
And then that's and then the
interesting.
last one is Mark.
Now, when your dad saw David, your mom, may she rest in peace. Okay,
Yes.
so that's Mark on the right, right?
And that's Mark on the
So
right.
to be clear, you guys grew up in the 70s, mid 80s. You got a house
far
with your
from
dad, your mom, and five boys.
Yeah. So
Did you have your own room, or
I have. It was a 4-bedroom home, it was always two to one room, two to another room, and then whoever the oldest got the single room.
Yeah.
And my dad was a traveling salesman. So
he was yeah, he had to, right?
Yeah, so he was off. He would work during the school year because that was when he was selling books. And then at the beginning of the school year is when he would really start ramping up his sales and stuff. Summertime, he had summers off.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it until I got older that he took us on like 2-week vacations and stuff.
And you, I know you don't have any kids, right? But
I got 2.
Oh, you do? Shit, sorry. Did not know that. I've never seen any. I didn't know that. But
I hide them from
We'll go
everyone.
back to that. But this is just a little bit, I remember when I was growing up. So I had 3 stepbrothers. So I was growing up like you were growing up. And I wasn't far. I was in Green Hills right there. By
You were Green Hills?
Yeah, so we were growing up very, but that can be, in the 70s and 80s, that can be miles. There's no cell phones. We're not moving around.
Exactly.
I have no idea that the Anderson clan was that close.
Yeah.
But when I stopped, I travel a lot for my job, and I stopped to take a piss at a gas station.
Yeah.
But the gas station is very rare now. It has the bathroom on the side.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
like an outside bathroom where they give you the key.
And you have to go get the key?
Now, but remember, I'm sure you guys are in the Anderson family station wagon, driving your ass up to Florida.
Yeah.
You got probably if your family was anything like mine, you had a cooler in the back with like some cheap ass big K cola.
Big K Cola,
And the cooler's rattling around. You got bologna sandwiches. You're having a picnic at the rest area.
We were in a station wagon, and I was always in the back of the station
Very
wagon,
back.
facing, facing the traffic coming at us.
Yes.
Oh, I had a great setup and everything.
Yeah, kidding, man. And the level of flatulence in that car was high level.
The windows were down quite a lot.
I love that. So childhood pretty good then, right? You feel like
I would
everything's
say
pretty
it
happy?
was. Yeah,
Right.
it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun.
And you guys never wore shirts in summer, always barefoot and all that?
Pretty much.
I'm assuming Mrs. Anderson stayed home.
Mrs. Anderson stayed home. Yes, she did.
Now, where'd you go to high school?
So I went to Northwest.
Northwest.
You mentioned Roger Bacon.
I did.
All 4, David, Mark, Greg, and Chris went to Roger Bacon.
Yeah.
When Chris went to Roger Bacon was about the time that they started letting those pesky girls in.
Yeah.
So Chris was like, I don't want to go here anymore. And so since Chris was able to get out and go to a public school because he had more friends in the public school, since he was able to, I was like, well, Chris didn't have to go to Roger Bacon. Does that mean I have to go?
Right.
And they were like, fine, you're saving us money by not
that's
going.
what I was going to say. Poor Mr. I'm assuming your mom was a stay-at-home mom.
Mom was a stay-at-home mom.
Right.
Yep.
So poor Mr. Anderson, he's paying for 4 people to go to private school. He's got one income.
He's got one income.
You guys
but
are
it was
eating
like,
him out of house and home.
We used to always make fun of him. We still do to this day. Of he was a coupon king.
Yeah.
If he had a coupon for it, he was going to use it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, he was making one. We had one income in the house. We had 4 kids going to Roger Bacon private school, and we were still able to go on 2-week vacations.
Yeah.
I can remember going with my dad to the flea market over here on the west side.
Yeah.
Near Dent.
Yeah.
The drive-in.
Right.
I remember going with him there. And that was where he was making all of his money to get us on vacation.
He had another job. Was he selling the old books or something?
Yeah, he was selling the old books. He was selling, because they would give him sample books all the time.
Yeah.
Of, like, one of the biggest ones I remember him selling was the Time Life books.
I love those
and
things.
the Civil War.
Civil War.
I remember those were on TV. I remember the books were on TV.
Yeah.
So he had the sample books for that. Well, then he started calling his other salesmen and being like, hey, they sent you those Time Life books.
Yeah.
You going to do anything in those?
Yeah.
No? He goes, okay, well, just give them to me. I'll take them.
So he busted his ass.
Oh, he busted his ass.
Yeah,
he was selling those for $20 a piece. I remember.
It, man.
And he was.
And so that's he's probably doing that in summer.
And that was in
That's when he's
summer,
off in
and we were
summer.
making all the money we needed to go on vacation.
I get it.
was
Now,
like, geez.
now we're in the days, I think, when you're growing up, we're still in the days of vinyl albums, right?
Yeah.
Are we in cassettes? We're in cassette land
We
yet?
were cassette, yeah.
And what's going on around the Anderson house musically during that time?
Interesting.
Yeah,
Good,
tell me.
that's a good question because I knew a lot of show tunes
Yeah.
because my brothers Mark and Greg, or Mark and Dave, were really big into drama at Roger Bacon.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. No, Greg told me that before.
Yeah.
You know, I'm good friends with your brother, as you know.
Oh, yeah.
So I did not know that. So you went to plays. And
So I went to the plays. And
can you sing a show tune right now? What do you got?
Oh, my gosh. Food, glorious food. And you put me on the spot.
That's the whole idea.
Because the biggest thing was we did Oliver And I actually got to be, Chris, were orphans in Oliver at Roger Bacon.
At Roger Bacon.
And there are pictures of that around.
So you guys were in a play where you weren't, even though you didn't go to the school?
Even though I didn't go to school, they needed kids for it. And Mark and David were in it. Right. Greg was too cool to do any of the stuff. So he opted out. Yeah. Right. So this was my first doing anything public in front of people.
I get it, man.
Had no idea what was going on.
Did you like it?
I had the best story is, I did. It was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. They have the microphones, the audio microphones set up to capture, everybody and pump it through the thing. So they got these big area mics. Yeah. And we're doing some song, and I'm 6 years old, I think, at the time. Yeah. And there's a microphone right there in front of me. And so I'm just like, full glory, hot butter and oil. Are you supposed to? Of course, not knowing that everybody out there is hearing me. I
love it, man.
If there was video, the video cameras, if those were a big thing back then, that would totally sell.
I love that.
Make money off of that.
I sang my first song in the 4th grade. And I went to Damon Road School. I don't know if you know where that is, over in Green Hills. But
I think I remember hearing that.
I had a music teacher, and mostly I want to talk about you, not me. Because I hate it when interviewers, they talk about them damn selves when they have somebody interesting. Yeah. But our high school guy came around, and he walked around and he listened to everybody singing in the choir. And then he gave me a part singing, if Santa were my daddy, it'd be good. So my first show, I have a picture of this gig.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude. No, I'm not going to show it today, of course. Okay. But this is all about you, Tim Anderson. Okay, so now, is there any rock and roll going on? What's Greg?
So yes,
what's Greg doing in his room while you're singing? While the rest of your family's singing show tunes, what was Greg doing?
He was listening to. I remember Van Halen.
First Van Halen record.
Yeah, first Van Halen record. I remember Rush and Triumph.
Yes, of course.
Triumph. Now, I didn't realize.
Like like Greg and I, we come from the same era.
Yeah,
and so we both have. My range sucks now. But I mean, in the day, I had to. And people don't understand this, but the reason that me and Greg and some of the other older guys can sing so high is because that's the music we grew up listening to.
Exactly.
Right? So we practice singing Lay It on the Line and any of a number of other songs.
Yeah.
And Boston, any of the high stuff. So that helped us. And also, just like when Greg was in Prisoner and when I was in other bands, we started off singing those high songs.
Yeah.
All right, so you're progressing, right?
I remember, yeah.
Now you're at Northwest High School. You're hanging out at Northwest High School. What are you doing there?
And it was probably
playing sports?
No, I was always in choir.
Choir?
I was always singing. Never really doing solo stuff. I didn't do my first solo until my senior year of high school.
What was it?
It was Les Mis. We were doing...
I don't know what that is.
Les Mis is another musical.
I was listening to Van Halen like Greg was. I wasn't messing around with show tunes.
Show tunes,
so you know.
And it's funny because I realized I knew these show tunes and stuff. I just kept hearing them through the walls all the time because they were going over Oklahoma and stuff like that. But yeah, my first one was Les Miserables. Do you hear the people sing? Say, can you hear the distant drums? And that was like the most of it, the gist of it that I had to sing by myself. Then everybody comes in behind me. And I just that kind of got me right there because that was everybody was like, wow, that was really cool. I'm like, that kind of was. That was a lot of fun.
Well, performing's fun, man.
It was.
Some people start off different ways, and that's just the way it goes, right? So when did we segue into the Stain band? What happened?
So Stain.
How did we get from, now you're at Northwest High School. You graduate. Did you go to college?
Nope.
So you graduate from high school, and you're not playing in any bands yet.
Not yet.
Right. Now then what? Tell me what happened.
So go back to my senior year. We did the variety show at our high school. A couple of the guys wanted to perform this new song by this band called Nirvana.
Yes.
They just put out some single about smelling like something, that band, anyway. And those guys wanted to do the song, and they were like, they didn't have a singer. And of course, I'm going, I'll do it.
Of course.
Can I?
If you're singing show tunes like we're used to singing, then Kurt Cobain's work was nothing, right?
Oh, man.
So you did that, and then what?
And I just did that, and then a couple of the guys from that band that were just hodgepodge guys were like, hey, why don't you come over and just jam and kind of mess around and stuff. And so we did. We had fun doing that. And then it was about a year or two because then they went on to college.
Yes, of course.
And so I think I just answered an ad in the paper, guy.
Like Everybody's News or something?
Yeah. Oh, my gosh, yeah. Guy looking for a singer.
Yeah.
That's when I got in touch with Dave Zaden.
And so your first band was Stain?
Was Stain my
All right,
first
so
original?
let's go
first
back a
official
little.
band.
So you're hanging around now. At this point, I'm assuming while you're starting Stain, Greg's already in Prisoner. Is that correct?
Prisoner was
Zeke,
let's
put up a picture of Tim and Greg so everyone can get a little bit of a handle on there's Tim on the left and there's Greg on the right. Now, when is this?
That's a super proud mullet moment right there is what that is.
Tell me.
That is probably, let's see, so that would have been probably 89.
Yeah.
Probably. I think is when that was. It was my first communion, maybe, is when that was. And he was my mentor, I think is what it was.
Greg was your mentor.
Greg was my mentor for that.
Yeah.
And yeah, he was big and rich into the hair, as you can see.
Okay, so when you're getting ready to start Stain, Greg's already playing in Prisoner.
Greg's
now, is there
playing
any interaction between you and your brother, and how does that develop around?
No.
You don't even know what you're doing your thing. He's out.
He's already out.
He's in the band, but he's already moved out.
He already moved out. I realized that, I've kind of got a voice. I can maybe do some of this stuff. And then I hooked up with Dave Zaden. And
Dave Zaden was the guitar player for Stain.
For Stain. And we hooked up with this drummer and bassist, Dan and Jason.
Yeah.
Dan Sullivan, Jason Palm. Hooked up with those guys, and we just started writing music, and we were just having a blast doing it. And it was so fun. And, we were playing shows. We were like, if we can get, it's like we had like milestones that we wanted to reach.
I understand. What was the first one?
We won the first milestone.
You guys were playing covers too, right?
We were doing a little bit of covers.
I remember you had an album out because I had you on my radio show.
Yep.
Yeah.
And what, Salamonies?
Yeah, Salamonies.
Salamonies.
You guys are playing Salamonies.
Yep.
Hey, Zeke, let's put up that picture of Tim with Stain, the magazine article thing. Yeah, take a look at that so anyone can see. This is back in everybody's news now. The interesting thing, if you're watching out on TV, you can see Tim's band Stained right there. But if you look to the upper right, you can see the real band that's in this picture. That would be Leap Skyward. That's my picture of Leap Skyward. So you and I appeared in the same magazine quite some time ago, Everybody's News. Yeah. So Stain got up and running, and I know you gave me some other things about Stain, but Stain got up and running, and
it got up moving.
How long did you have that?
We did that for 5 years.
5 years. Now, Zeke, put up the other picture of Tim and Stain, because I have a question for you. Now, this is what I'm curious about, right? So this is very long ago. I don't know, this is in the 90s, right?
This
I don't know when this is.
Yeah, this is the 80. This is probably 94. Let me see.
Right. Well, this is Stain, right?
This is Stain.
Okay,
yeah. So I've been doing the stupid stuff.
Yeah. The interesting thing to me is that you're already losing your mind with all these costumes and everything.
Yeah.
Right? Yes. Yeah.
And I used to put that on because we used to do this song by Porno for Pyros.
Yeah. We'll make great pets.
Yeah.
We'll make great pets.
And it was about aliens. So I would put that mask on. And we would sing the song.
What is? Oh, that's a mask.
It's a mask. Yeah.
Okay. So
and it's crazy because my mouth is up near the forehead. So that's why it's like stuck.
Yeah, but it's interesting that you started doing that, right? And then did you continue doing other funny stuff like that in Stain, or was this just
Stain really wasn't that funny, so to say. We always called ourselves, it's like, well, how do you explain yourself? Well, we're pissed off rock and roll is what we like to say.
Yeah.
So we were doing stuff like that and just having fun with it. We did 2 records.
Yeah,
which was just a lot of fun, and then
there's no digital evidence of that though.
I think there is.
Yeah,
I think it could be found on YouTube.
Right,
as a matter of fact.
Interesting.
So yeah, so
I like that. Yep. All right, man. So we're up to Stain.
We're up to Stain.
We are. How do you pronounce this water?
This is Pawnee.
Pawnee water. So we're going to take a short break. We're actually going to do a commercial for Pawnee water, and then we're going to be right back here on the Dangerous Jim Show with Tim Anderson. Stick around.
Thank you.
Hey, it's Jim here from the Dangerous Jim Show with Tim Anderson. We're going to go through a quick workout. I'm going to take Tim through a quick workout so we can work up a thirst for this Bikini water. Tim, why don't you try the hip thruster, and then I'll join in with maybe cat and cow. Go ahead. You try first. If this makes you uncomfortable, just let me know.
I'll try not to look at you.
All right, let's go. 1, 2, 3.
Give me 5.
4, 5.
That's not enough.
Oh. Yeah, that was a hell of a workout.
Cheers.
Woo. Cheers. Bikini water.
You're going to love this stuff.
All right. Cool. Welcome back to the Dangerous Jim Show. We both decided to take off our he took off his shirt. I took off my jacket. You know the old saying, take off your pants and jacket.
Take off your pants and jacket.
Yeah, that's right. Everyone knows that.
We also wanted to show off all of our tattoos.
Yeah, we have tattoos. Mine were done at Evolved Evolved in Columbus. My friend Kez did all this. And who did yours?
So I started off with one up here on my shoulder for my dog.
Yeah.
That wasn't too painful. That's okay. I go down to Key West, and I got this one done.
I love that.
And I love this one.
I love that.
But this was the most painful one I ever had done because the guy that I had do it was getting divorced from his wife that day. So he was in a pretty pissed off mood, I think.
That's no fun.
So, yeah.
Bro, I've spent hours in the chair doing all this shit. And, I really, and it's the only time, it's the longest time I've been away from my phone. Because I'm just sitting there. It's the longest time. All right. So we've touched on your childhood.
Yep.
You touched on, tell me a little bit about your other cover band you had. We got Stain, then we got another cover band.
We got Stain, and then Stain just kind of fell apart. Music scene was kind of dying.
Yeah.
So I just went on to everybody's music and looked for if there was any cover bands or anything, looking for singers. And I wound up jumping on saw one, go and do the interview with the guys, and everything went really well. We've practiced a couple songs. Everything was really cool.
Right.
And we realized that we know a lot of the same people.
Yeah.
And like right prior to that, I was in a band called Spindle.
Spindle. Right.
And they were, so between Stain and 3 Degrees, I was in Spindle. They were way farther than I was.
Spindle was.
Spindle.
Okay.
They were like, we're going to make a record.
Yeah.
We are going to tour.
I get it.
We're going to be eating ramen noodles.
I get it, man.
All that stuff. And I'm like, I just had a kid.
Okay, so
And
you had your
so-
first kid, and now is this with the lady that you're married to now?
This is with my wife, Natalie.
Natalie, thank you.
Yes.
All right, so now we got a couple cover bands. Now,
So a couple of cover bands.
I have some. We're going to get into some hard hitting questions here.
Okay.
We're back into the part, as you know, it's called the meat.
Okay.
That's right. We're back into the meat.
Yes.
So sitting around. Now you've done these cover bands. Somebody has the idea. Tell me about the original. We got Glenn, we got Jimmy, we got you, and who was the original guitar player?
Brian was the Brian.
Okay, so tell everyone out here listening, what in the hell? How did you start the Naked Karate Girls? I need to know.
Glenn is the one that started it. Glenn Kukla started the whole thing.
Yes.
He, a couple years prior to Naked Karate Girls forming,
Yes.
somebody had seen on the internet that news would always show the top 3 things that were searched this year.
Yes.
Or this month or whatever was naked girls, naked, and karate.
I search that often myself.
And yeah. It's a fun search, actually.
It is, yes.
And he was like, if you flip that around, Naked Karate Girls, that's a good name for a band. So he was like, I'm going to hang on to that one.
Okay, so he had the name long before the formation of the band.
Right.
So Glenn started, he's the drummer. And
he's the drummer.
Did you know Glenn?
I did not know Glenn.
Did you know Jimmy?
No.
Did you know the original guitar player?
Nope.
Did you get this gig by answering a classified ad and showing up?
I got this gig thanks to a really good friend of mine, Tim Butterfield.
Tim Butterfield, light guy. So he said, "Hey, there's a new band starting. These guys are the name's going to be the Naked Karate Girls."
Glenn was looking.
So you go there, very first rehearsal. There's a lot to unpack here. So now you got a gig. You go there. I'm assuming you went to for an audition.
Went for an audition with Glenn. Glenn said he wanted to make this power band. And power is what it was. Power band. He was like, and the one question that he kept asking was, how much money will it take for you to quit your job? How much money will it take for you to quit?
Okay, so he had a business plan before you started.
Yeah.
Before the band started.
This wasn't going to be a normal band.
And I'm assuming, I don't want to talk, I'm not going to go into Glenn's history at this point, but I'm assuming he was more experienced than you in the music business.
Yes.
And especially, not maybe in music, but obviously in the music business, the business end of it, he was more experienced than the rest of the guys.
Yeah.
He had a vision. Everyone, every good business, they have a visionary, and then they have the integrators. So he had the vision, and he needed, at the beginning, you were an integrator to a vision that he already had, the Naked Karate Girls. He knew how you're going to get money, all that. So you show up at the first rehearsal, tell what happened.
Showed up at the first rehearsal, and we just had a hell of a lot of fun.
Right.
And then...
So you had a list of songs, right?
We had a list of songs. He and I kind of bounced stuff off.
What was the first song the Naked Karate Girls played together in a rehearsal room? The historic Naked Karate Girls.
Snoop Dogg, Gin and Juice.
Okay.
And then I remember Don't Stop Believing.
Don't Stop Believing. Okay.
Yeah, we did those.
And I'm going to just say this now. I've been wanting to say it. The Naked Karate Girls, and everyone already knows this, but there's people out there that, we'll talk about the polarizing effect that the Naked Karate Girls have had on the Cincinnati music scene.
Yes.
But the fact is, if you're in a cover band, guys, if you're listening, you have never been as good as the Naked Karate Girls. If you're in a cover band now, you've never done as much, and you probably never will, you guys did as much you did more as a cover band than anyone else would ever do. Okay, so now you play your first. You're rehearsing. Where are you practicing at? Glenn's house.
So we're
Glenn's house.
So we were rehearsing at the old Cincinnati Enquirer building downtown.
Yeah.
Which is like 30 stories tall.
I actually went there when I won one of my 3 Cincinnati Area Music Award, Cammy Awards.
That's right.
I went there to get my picture taken for. That's right. This is a Cammy Award, Cincinnati Area Music Award.
In Cincinnati, that's coveted.
It is. All right, so you go. So
we're practicing.
You're already starting off in a good rehearsal. You're not in someone's basement.
No, we're practicing in a building.
So Glenn and who's paying for the building?
Glenn's company purchased the building, and it's just sitting empty. And so we would practice in one of the offices.
Right.
And after practice, the whole entire building was empty. I think there was one tenant still in it at the base, at the bottom. So the upper floors were all empty. And so we would just walk around.
Roam around, have fun, man.
Yeah. And
what about drinking and weed smoking in the early Naked Karate Girls?
There was drinking, no weed smoking, because I don't
consider you guys much of a drug band.
No,
and I know you wouldn't say anyway, but you don't really see what like it would be that kind of thing.
And we're not. Yeah.
Okay, so Glenn Kukla has the idea. You guys start rehearsing.
We start rehearsing.
You're downtown.
We're downtown.
You get a set list together.
We get a set list together.
Sipping on gin and now
all that stuff.
what I forget is you're younger than me. So to me, that's an odd choice, but that's only because there would be an odd choice for an older guy. I never listened to that kind of music. That was what you already knew anyway.
Yeah, and I did.
Yeah.
We wanted to do a bunch of kind of oddball songs. We didn't want to stick to one genre. And so it started to really evolve from there.
I get it, man. All right, so you're practicing.
We're practicing.
You got the name.
We got the name.
We're going back 18 years now.
18 years.
Yeah, 18 years ago. So now tell me about where's the first gig ever?
Our first gig ever was at Longworth's up in Mount Adams, and we were called Live Band. And of course, nobody came except for Brian's girlfriend at the time was the only one there. And I remember that this was going to be something a little bit special when there was someone who walked by the front door, looked in, saw what we were doing, and was just like, what? And then they walked on.
Yeah.
Well, about 2 minutes later, they walked back, pulling their friend.
Got some friend. Okay.
Like, look at what's going on in there.
Longworths.
In Longworths.
Now, what were you wearing on the? Were you guys dressed up like you are like the band is today, or
a little bit?
A little. What do you mean? Like, were you wearing your UFO head again? Or, how was it?
It was a lot of different stuff. I think I had a grandma moo. When we would travel, we would always make sure to hit whatever thrift store was there.
Yes.
And that's where we got them.
Okay. But from the beginning, you weren't walking up there in jeans and t-shirts.
No.
Now this was a calculated thing.
Calculated.
And I'm thinking Mr. Glenn Kukla had the idea that we're going to dress up. Yeah. We're gonna look different than the average bar patron, and we're going to dress up. And that's how we're gonna make money.
So we got a call from Jefferson Hall.
Yes.
They had an every Wednesday band there, and the Wednesday band fell apart.
That's downtown, right?
Yeah, that was in Newport.
Newport, okay.
Which is now 16 lots.
16 lots, I think that's close now, too.
Yeah.
But down there on Newport on the Levee, great spot, man.
Great spot.
Absolutely great place to launch.
So you
started doing Wednesdays.
Our second show was a Wednesday night down there, and the Reds game happened to be going on.
Great.
It had let out, and next thing you know, this is our second show. And because everybody went over to Jefferson Hall after the game.
Yeah.
And it was packed.
Jam-packed.
And we were just like...
And how did you feel? I mean, it's probably... How did it feel for you?
It was unnerving.
And were you guys rehearsed tonight? Like, my daughter asked me before, again, it's not about me, but she said, Daddy, that's a lot of people out there. Are you nervous? I said, Daddy's not nervous because we're well rehearsed and Daddy knows how to do this. But were you ready for your close-up at that time when you had your first big crowd there at
No, I would say
Jefferson
no.
Jefferson Social?
Yeah, Jefferson Hall.
Jefferson Hall. Yeah.
I would say no because anytime we stepped on stage, we were already behind the 8 ball.
Right.
Because we're going up there in goofy outfits, and everybody's looking at us like, if you're going to wear that, you better do something good.
I understand.
So that kind of made me and the other guys be like, we got to be really tight with these songs. Yeah. We have to really bring it.
I understand.
And so there was a little bit of pressure.
So you spent a lot of time rehearsing. And now, by the time you're at Jefferson Hall, had you quit your job yet?
No.
So, and you guys were playing for $800 or something.
We were playing for $800. I was doing Wednesday. We were playing Wednesday nights. I would have to get up at 7 a.m. the next morning to go to work.
And where were you working at?
I was working at Cincinnati Financial.
All right. So
I
you
was
like in the office or something?
Yeah, I was a PC technician.
All right.
I was the guy who came around and hit the keyboard 2 times and fixed whatever problem it was and made fun of you. That was
I
me.
get it. Yeah. Scotty from Prisoner used to be my keyboard guy.
That's right.
He was my computer guy, and he would do a FaceTime call.
He would do that.
And the main thing Scotty would say would be, "Stop pushing buttons! Stop pushing buttons!" I would be like, "Wait, let me try this. Let me try this." He goes, "Stop pushing buttons."
Is that bothering you?
You know, my computer login to this day, may Scotty from Prisoner, P-R-1-Z-O-N-E-R, Prisoner.
Really?
So every time I log in with that, I miss my friend Scott.
Oh.
All right, computer guy. So we're starting to play some gigs, right?
We're starting to play some gigs.
You're playing the Wednesdays. I'm assuming that became the place to be.
That came the place to be. We were learning. We were cutting our teeth there.
Yes.
We started getting a bunch of weekend stuff. And probably about a year.
Now, Glenn's handling all the business, right?
Glenn was
you're getting
handling all the
weekend
business.
stuff because at that time, now who else, in the early days of the Naked Karate Girls, who else were you competing against?
We were competing against the menus.
Yeah.
We wanted to be like them, but we
Yes.
didn't want to be exactly like them. So we were looking for a way to, we don't want anybody to be like, oh, well, they're just copying the menus. Oh,
Right,
you know.
right.
We wanted to find a way to do it a little bit different from them. And so we
understand.
went with an 80s kind of theme
Yeah.
to it.
And who was picking the songs? You guys
Sabotage.
talking about them together, or someone who's picking this?
It would be like Glenn would pick the songs, and then we would figure out, he would, pick like, well, let's do Alanis Morissette, You Ought to Know. I'm like, that actually could kind of be funny. Well, what other girl song could we do? Well, we could do Divinals. I Touch Myself. Yeah.
No, wait. Can you say, what's the name of that song again?
I
This is
Touch
Tim
Myself.
Tim Anderson this is Tim Anderson. What was the name of that song again?
I Touch Myself.
Save that. Save that as a cut for later. Did you get that, Zeke? We're going to start rolling that all the time now.
I Touch Myself.
All right. And so now the band's progressing, right? Okay.
Big
The band's
time.
progressing. So,
And-
and you started off popular right away.
We did. It started off big.
Isn't that a bunch of bullshit, man?
I know.
You guys started off.
It was just
So
different.
you played one poorly attended gig up in Mount Adams.
Up Mount Adams.
And then
The
after that,
second
you
one-
started slamming.
Started slamming, and I kind of had to go to the guys and be like, look, I don't have enough vacation time to cover
Now,
all of these
why
shows.
did you need vacation time?
Because a lot of the stuff we were doing, some of it was out of town.
Right.
So I'd have to travel during the day. So
And we're talking about the first year.
first year.
First year.
Yeah. And so I had to be like, look, I got to back off on this. I can't play this much.
Right.
And they're like, oh, okay,
Well,
fine. We can do that.
Shit. That's
It was like
what
2
kind of
weeks
money
later.
are you making though? I mean,
I was making-
and just
I was-
say real numbers. So
Let's-
say how many gigs are you play one first gig no one went to, then you started playing down at Jefferson Social, and then you guys are playing. How much are you making in a week per week in the very beginning?
Let's see, maybe 700-800 a show, maybe.
For you only?
No, for everybody.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So because we would do that and then be like, okay, we'd come in and go, okay, look, we were able to fill this place
you got to
up.
do it. Yeah,
And you're only paying us this much.
And if you're a young band and you're listening right now, the Naked Karate Girls are the biggest, best, and nothing will ever touch what you guys have done as far as cover songs.
It was just the timing.
It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen.
the timing
No one
was
else
right.
is ever going to nail it like the Naked Karate Girls, and it should be pointed out, are still nailing it.
Yes.
It's not. There's nothing going on since you're not in the band. We'll discuss this a little bit later.
Yeah.
All right. So the band starts getting big. You're making
Starts getting big.
You're
I had to tell them-
making 300-400 a week.
Yeah, 300-400 a
But
week from that.
you're playing a lot of shows. Glenn is the businessman.
Glenn's the businessman.
And as I refer to in another one of my episodes, How to Be a Better Band Member.
Yes.
Glenn is the gung ho guy.
He
Glenn
is,
gung-ho guy.
and he's crystal clear with everything.
He's crushing
and
it.
As far as other bands, where's the camera? Camera one, camera. There we go.
Yeah.
Be crystal clear with money.
Right.
Money is the number one thing that will destroy a band. If you are not honest with any pay, yeah, that destroys. We've
Right. So
heard that
it was up
multiple
front. Here's what we're
occasions.
making. We're splitting it equally, I'm assuming, or if not, here's what we're making. I'm taking extra because I'm booking the gigs. But
Exactly.
This is how much.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
We were
so
doing stuff like that.
Now we're going down a couple of years. You guys,
Right.
when did you quit your job?
So that was what I was getting to. Was
Sorry.
2 weeks? That week, I told them, "Hey, I don't have enough time to be able to do this stuff." And like a week later, I wound up getting fired from my job.
Okay.
They were doing layoffs, and I was, of course, I didn't realize it. Oh, it's their fault.
You
no,
were
no.
busy gigging. You weren't paying attention
Yeah,
at work.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It
you
was
didn't
my
care.
fault.
You
It
didn't
was
care.
my fault.
Yeah, but you were having a blast.
Yeah.
So
So I told
blast
them.
in the band, man.
Yeah. So I went to Glenn and them. I'm like, you guys remember like last week when I was like, I can't do all these gigs? Well, turn that around.
Now,
start booking.
Was Glenn not working?
Glenn was working. He was still doing realtor stuff.
Oh, he's a realtor?
Yeah, he was a realtor, commercial realtor. He was still doing that stuff during the day and still doing the band stuff as well.
Right. So yeah, man. But a realtor is a lot more flexible than showing up at a desk.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can do that shit whenever you want.
Yeah.
And what about Jimmy King? What's Jimmy King doing at this point?
Jimmy
King. Hey, Jimmy King. Jimmy King.
Jimmy King.
Love that guy.
Yeah.
What about his country record, Jimmy Lee King?
I don't know what happened with that.
That's all right. So Jimmy's working some sort of job too.
Jimmy's working freelance work, doing video and things like that.
Right. So now we're in like year 1, year 2.
Yeah. He saw the vision
year 2
of
at this point. We're still working, right?
Yeah. So
for now,
I jumped.
As soon as you quit your job,
as soon as I quit,
just started then, and so to be clear, we're going back 15 years now.
Yeah.
And you haven't had a job for 15 years.
Right.
And why not? Because we're making enough money as a professional musician. Yes. The band was paying you enough that you didn't have to work.
Exactly. Right? Being one of the original three
guys,
owners.
That's how successful the Naked Karate Girls work.
Yeah.
No one in the band works. Nobody has a job.
Everybody within the past 10 years,
right? This
is their exclusive job. And we were making a nice living off of it. The great thing was Glenn was able to turn it into an LLC.
Well, you got to pay tax. I mean, that's dangerous. I know the Dangerous Jim and the Slims were probably better than the Naked Karate Girls have ever been. I'm just teasing. But every band has to do that because you're getting taxed on your money, man.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about it. First couple years, you guys were doing pretty good, right?
Yeah.
But there was at some point, and I don't know when, there was an explosion. I mean, you were doing good, but all of a sudden you started doing really good.
Yes.
Really good. Really good. When was that?
That was probably 5 years into it. And
so first, because, and I don't want to over talk you, but I'm thinking you're investing, and I'm sure that Glenn said, hey, we're putting this money back into our production.
Exactly.
Right? And you started to realize that the costumes were working. I know I'm speaking for you, but your show got better because number one, you're playing. How many gigs were you playing a week?
We would do almost every weekend. We would play, but then we had Friday. A typical crazy weekend would be we have Friday and Saturday booked already, and then Ohio State University had their tailgate party.
Yes,
and it was a big to do up there at the time.
Right.
They asked us.
Still is, I'm sure.
Yeah. They asked us to come up and play.
Okay.
Well, we would do the gig on whatever gig we would do that on Friday.
Right.
Get home at 3:00 in the morning. We'd have to get up at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Drive up to Columbus by 9, perform that show right before the game until 1 o'clock.
So so you're doing a Friday night regular club gig.
Yeah.
Then you're going up to play at Ohio State during the day, pregame.
And then
coming back,
run back because we had that Saturday night gig, which is usually like a wedding or something fun or some other bar. So we would run and do that. And it was just so didn't realize how tiring and how stressful it was until after it was done. But we did that for 3 football seasons, I would say.
And let's pull up the next. Let's take a look at a couple pictures. Naked Karate Girl pictures. That's what the band looks like. Now they think this is the most recent incarnation, right? Because it looks like there's one extra. Yep. There are 4 guys there.
There's T-Bone. There's T-Bone right there.
Go to the next picture, Zeke. I like that. But where is that?
So this one is up in Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay, that's in Cleveland, Ohio. Look at that audience.
This was in the Cavaliers.
Oh, I see.
Playing.
I see you wearing the Cavaliers.
Yeah, so that was really cool, what that was. That show came about because we did a show in Columbus at this martini bar, and there was maybe 4 people there.
Yep.
And this guy saw us and was just like, you guys have something here.
But that was 4 or 5 years into you guys were already. So that's a lesson, for young bands too. You got to take the gigs, man.
Take the gigs and treat it as if treat it as if there's 1,000 people in the room. Yep. I know there's only 4 people in the room.
Right.
You got to treat it as if it's 1,000, because if we did that show and played to those 4 people like blah, 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 bored, we would not have gotten that gig there, because the guy who saw us is the entertainment manager for the production company that works up in Cleveland, and they do a lot of the outdoor gigs.
Right. And now all of a sudden you guys are huge in Cincinnati. You're playing good gigs in Cincinnati. Now you're up in Columbus, and I know we'll talk about the other places you guys have played. Yeah. But now you're up in Columbus, and there's some poor local band that's playing, they're trying to do their best, and now the Naked Karate Girls are grabbing the best gigs in Columbus. Now you're moving up. Did you ever stop at Grandpa's Cheese Barn when you're on the way up to Cleveland? Greatest place ever with cheese samples. And cheese samples, man. And Mansfield.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about cheese.
Now you're up in Cleveland. Now you're kicking ass in Cleveland. Now there's another local. There's 15 other local bands going. Oh my God, these guys. But look, and we
weren't cheaping out. We weren't undercutting everybody. We were still going up with our normal pay because we had a group that we had to pay, gas and all that stuff. So
Zeke, bring up another picture of the Naked Karate Girls. Maybe the next one. Let's go back. Bring that crowd picture back up for a second. Yeah, put that up on the big screen. Yeah. Now here's what I want people to understand. It looks when you have a crowd like that, right? Now. This is Cleveland. What is this, pregame or what?
Yeah, this is pregame.
Now, the most important thing, if you're a young musician, to notice is all those people, right? Now, and the other thing that, if you're in a band and you go up on stage with that audience, that's great, right? But what's the hardest part? Holding them. So that you held the crowd, and because any of those people, any other band playing, now, you not only did you hold the crowd, I'm pretty sure that when you started, it wasn't like that.
No.
When you started, you were playing for, 100, the first few rows.
Exactly.
But you created the excitement by being a great live band that no one has ever seen before around Cincinnati and no one's ever going to see again, right? By being a great live band and not only bringing people in. Other bands play, those people are like, I'm going to the game. Got to take a piss.
Yeah.
But you have the people drawn in there.
We had them drawn in.
And how did you do that? Tell me, what was the strategy when you guys go, all right, we're playing down here. This is going to be a huge audience. You have a band meeting and you go, all right, let's do this.
Let's do this.
Take me through it.
It was, one of the things is, okay, what song are we going to do?
Yeah.
Okay, how can we do it visually funny?
Yes.
Or how can we do something with the song to make it worth doing?
Right.
Because one of the big things was, I don't want to look like I'm looking at my shoes the whole time.
I get it.
That we're playing.
I get it.
So constantly look up, little stupid dance moves, things like that. They've got the bald head. One of the funniest things that we did was we had a plunger and it.
Yeah, on the head, right? Man, of course.
Yeah.
All that stuff. Now, also, the other thing that I noticed that, maybe, I don't even know if maybe no one will ever listen to this. But what I've noticed every time I've seen the Naked Karate Girls, big entrance. A big entrance. I saw you guys playing at Rick's Tavern, and you guys were back in the kitchen, and then some intro music rolls. And I'm assuming that you did that every single time, or as much as you can. A big entrance before you even start playing. You got the tune box to the head.
Oh yeah,
all that big entrance. And then the other thing that I noticed, and this is gonna, I have a whole nother episode called "How to Be a Better Live Band." But really, if you really want to know how to be a better live band, go see the best live bands. But the other thing is, you don't play one song and jack around. You guys are doing a solid 40, 45, 50 straight minutes of music with not even 1 second in between. Any silence was a killer. Is a killer. And that's how you hold and keep those big crowds. Anyone out there, like I used to, I heard and I'll make this quick, but I heard a live recording of my band last year at Fretboard.
Okay.
And we made a whole video. But what I found out was I was talking way too much, man. We played 3 or 4 songs, and I didn't realize it.
You can't help it.
But now I have the proper job where talking's good. But I mean, I was talking too long in between, and we it's a local thing where we held the crowd. But really, as interesting as you or me may think we are, people don't want to hear that.
Yeah,
nobody wants to hear that. And you guys, I'm sure you have a list in advance, right?
We have a list of songs.
So you go, all right, we're playing Ohio State. This is going to be huge.
Bing, bing.
Here's what we're going to do. And you have a set list on the stage?
Yeah, we'll have a set list on the stage, but we'll do, we're going to do the Ohio State thing. It's going to be a little bit cold out. Let's get people dancing and moving.
Yes.
And one of the coolest things that happened with the Ohio State shows was it was probably 40 degrees out.
Right.
It was pretty cold.
Right.
We're playing and we're doing Cupid Shuffle. To the left, to the left.
Yeah.
You got everybody doing the Cupid Shuffle and it starts snowing. And I mean like a blast of snow came out of nowhere. Like a squall did. And, it was like, it was covering people really quick.
Yes.
And everybody was still dancing.
Yeah.
We're like, you're getting snowed on and you're still up dancing.
Right.
We've done that one, you're doing something right.
Right.
Even when, playing festivals and it starts sprinkling.
Mm-hmm. Keep going.
We keep going.
Right.
As long as our equipment's good and they're dancing.
So you guys are organized. Now let's talk about this maybe. We'll just address it right now.
Yeah.
You talk to local guys, right? And I'm going to give someone a plug. I went to see That Arena Rock show.
Okay.
Those guys are badass. It's an 80s thing, right?
Yes.
So I'm there. I'm standing right next to your brother. Now, Greg knows better than to, but there's all kinds of other old musicians there. Hollywood's open. So the feedback on these guys, the class, that arena rock show, everyone says, oh, it's too choreographed. Now, these are guys that couldn't choreograph their way out of a paper bag.
Right.
Now, so let's get to the production and let's just talk directly. You guys are all using in-ears, right?
We're using in-ear
so let's
monitors.
just address it. You're rolling tracks out the ass. There's no question that you guys were playing to backing tracks.
Right.
And still do. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I'm not even going to try to defend that. Now, if anyone ever says to me, they go, then I'm going to ask you another question later.
Yeah.
When people say, oh, man, they're rolling tracks. It's all a gimmick. What do you say?
And that was the
what do you
biggest
say
thing.
when someone said those two things? I say, it's all gimmick. What do you say?
He is playing guitar. He is singing. He is playing bass. And yes, he's really playing drums.
Right.
Yes, we do have backing track. We have backing tracks.
Right.
It was a little heavy. I will say that. It was a little heavy on the backing tracks.
Okay.
But it just helped it to roll along.
Right.
And
So what's the real job? I will tell you. The real job of a band is to entertain the audience. What are you getting paid to do? What's the payment for?
the payment is to get them get drinks.
You are
sold.
getting paid to entertain the audience. It doesn't matter how you do it.
Right.
So you got tracks, rolling tracks. Now, for example, say you're playing Ohio State. You know, it's going to be huge. I'm assuming you're going to play as long as you can, 90 minutes, 2 hours. Really, as soon as you take a break, everyone leaves. So I'm sure you can play 2 straight hours with no problem if you had to.
Yeah.
But those tracks are already in. You can't really change because now you're going down the list.
Right.
And also, I'm assuming that you guys had to learn to play fast because you tightened those tracks so tight. There ain't a pause in it.
It got to
But I'm sure you were smart enough that you put instrumental parts in so you can get a drink. And all.
Instrumental parts, or there were little sounds that we would listen for that would clue us in on what song is going to come up next.
Right.
We had little sounds
now,
and things.
Just take me through this. If I'm wearing headphones right now, and it should, I want you to know that Glenn has contacted me, and I might be the new Naked Karate Girl singer. Just so you know.
You going to shave?
No.
That's
I'm
why,
just teasing.
That's why I'm growing this.
I'm just teasing. Yeah. But so, what's it like? So you start off in your cans, in your headphones.
In my headphones.
What are you hearing?
I've got my vocals, a little bit of the track, and then bass, and that's all I can hear. So I can hear the track.
But you don't hear the guitar. But these are instrumental tracks too, right?
Right.
And so I don't know this to be true, but let's talk about my friend Clark Connolly for a minute. Love that guy.
Oh yeah,
he's one of my big tattoo influences.
Yeah.
So Clark so every now and then the Naked Karate Girls would have a guest player. Mm-hmm. Now I'm assuming that Clark knows he's going to Key West to play with you, and so you can send him literally the practice track.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yep.
So you send him a list, and he'll go here. We're going to do this. We're going to go to, what's that place called in Key West you played all this time? So,
Sloppy Joe's.
We're going to go to Sloppy Joe's, Clark. And so you don't necessarily have to rehearse with him because it's expected that he's just going to play along with the track.
Right.
So he can rehearse without even being at rehearsal.
Yeah. So he can listen to the MP3 because we do a lot of the stuff not the same as radio.
Of course.
So,
but it should be noted that these are custom tracks.
Yeah.
These aren't just tracks you're pulling off YouTube. These are custom tracks that you're playing to. And also, I'm assuming they have backing vocals too.
Yeah, backing vocals as well.
Right.
And, all the songs we'll do the song, but then we'll maybe do the ending a little bit different.
I get it, man. Yeah, so it's innovative. To me, it's innovative. You're not just playing along to some bullshit track.
Right.
This is complete innovation, and all we're talking about now is the music. But I want to ask you, let's just touch briefly on, you got so popular they had to have 2 bands.
We had to have 2 bands.
Is that still a thing?
COVID. And yeah, still is.
So there's still 2, and there's still 2 Naked Karate Girls.
Still 2 Naked Karate Girls.
And the way I remember it is you always have 2 original members. Now I don't know how it's going to work now, but you always got 2 of the original guys. And so if you got 2 weddings, there's 2 different sets of Naked Karate Girls.
Exactly.
Right. With Glenn taking money from both because he's the businessman,
which
I understand. And if you can book 2 $10,000 gigs, then boom.
The logistics that we had to deal with, I had no problem paying Glenn to do that. Because
people don't realize, and I hope my band's listening, people don't realize how lucky if you got someone else in your band that's taking care of the business and keeping you working. What you should do is make it as easy on that guy as possible.
Exactly.
Right? And shut up and show up, right?
Shut up and show up.
I'm just joking. If my guys, I'm sure I've been talking for a long time. They've already heard that. But any band, if you got a guy that's taking care of your business. So let's go. Tell me about some of these outfits. Zeke, pull up Timmy's closet. Let's see your closet here. Take us through this. Yeah.
Man.
So Kim, I don't know if we can zoom in, but if you're watching this, that's your outfit closet.
That's my outfit closet.
So how do you go? What do you do? How do you?
I would figure about 3 outfits a show.
Yeah. And so you're packing them, and then
I'm packing them, and then it depends on, let's say we're doing the Bengals game. Okay, well, I've got an orange and black suit in there that I would pull up. Let's say we're doing, the Cavaliers game. I had a Cavalier outfit. We would try to incorporate.
Yeah, man. But and you're constantly buying new stuff. Yeah. I'm sure that since you didn't have a damn thing to do, since you weren't working, you had plenty of time to buy clothes.
Yeah, I had a company credit card. An NKG Productions LLC credit card
for outfits. For outfits. And of course, Glenn would, your business. It is a business investment. It's a business. I don't care if you're taking a client out. These are things that you need to be successful. And I'm sure that's probably. And I'm sure you were honest about it. You're not buying new Doc Martens for yourself. If you do buy new Doc Martens, you better show up wearing them on stage.
Exactly. Yes. One of the funniest ones was we had we're a little lewd.
Yeah.
And one of our guys had to go to a sex shop and be like, I need the biggest.
I remember Jimmy used to flop around with that red wiener. I don't know about that thing.
I know.
It's a little weird. But I can tell you that when you were playing at Rick's, I once masturbated that red wiener when Jimmy was wearing it.
Oh, yeah.
So just if you guys don't know, this Jerry King, the bass player, he'd have a red sex toy poking out of his pants. And I did masturbate that thing once. Yeah, so
we were like, we went into the sex shop and we were like, we need the biggest, floppiest dildo that you have.
Yeah.
And it was like, really? And
Did you say that one more time? Zeke, roll that recording.
The biggest, floppiest dildo you have.
Yeah, perfect. To get that, Zeke? All right. So you go in, so your guys are going nuts. But this is the advantage of being able to do the Naked Karate Girls full time, because you really work.
Stuff like this.
And you're thinking about all these things. Now, how did you find the toilet paper sprayer?
Green Day.
Green Day. Oh, okay.
Green Day did it one time.
Now, let me ask you this, though, and I'm going to have to backtrack for a second.
Okay.
When you started wearing those outfits, were you patterning yourself after, besides Tim from the Menus? The reason, if anyone's watching out there, the reason I've been looking at my phone, I was thinking about giving him a call.
Okay.
But I'm waiting for him to let me know that he's ready for an actual telephone call.
Right.
But where do these, is it from Yacht Rock?
No, we kind of figured.
Did you guys look at someone else's? It doesn't matter now. Did Glenn pull something out and go, let's do kind of like this with the mustaches?
Beastie Boys, Sabotage.
Yeah, okay.
We based it off of Sabotage.
I don't know that, but so you based it off that.
Their outfits are based off of Sabotage, and I had the freedom to kind of do what I wanted a little bit.
Yeah.
So I could do a little bit of a different outfit, but they still would dress up in their thing.
Right.
So we had a lot of fun with that and just trying.
So you got there's still 2 Naked Karate Girls out there.
COVID.
Now, let's talk about a couple things, and you don't have to give me numbers if you don't want. But what is the highest amount of money you ever got paid when you were in the band for a gig?
New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve
and
is
you don't
always
don't mention
money.
Don't mention the club, because that's not cool.
Yeah.
But what about the actual dollar amount?
I believe it was
$15,000 for one gig, right? But
one gig.
You're earning it. You know how you've earned it? Through experience. And they know that you're going to pack the place.
And that was 5 years ago.
5 years ago. So the money's there.
The money was there.
And then what about some of the exotic locations that the Naked Karate Girls have played?
Wow. We've done Key West, Florida.
Key West.
We started doing some international shows.
Yeah, tell me about that.
A couple of companies had, let's see, the Young Millionaires Club or something like that. YPC, I think. Oh, what was it called? I can't remember. It was a millionaires club, and they have these meetings all the time, and they do them in international.
So they fly you there?
They fly
us
there.
Do they pay you more than $15,000 for that?
I think. No, I don't think they did.
So let's do the math.
We were like,
I got your crew here. Let's do the math on
okay.
On a $15,000 gig for New Year's Eve.
Yes.
You got the 4 guys in the band.
4 guys.
Got obviously how many crew guys?
For New Year's Eve would be 2 crew guys.
Let me get my calculations out.
Yeah.
15,000. Okay. 2 crew guys.
2 crew guys. Now
1 being the sound man.
1 being the
sound man. 1 being the light man.
So our sound man, he had his own fare that he got paid, which I think was like $500. Then we had the guitarist.
Yes.
He would get paid his flat fee.
So let's go back. You, Jimmy, and Glenn are the founding members, and the other guys are hired hand.
Hired hand.
So divided by 4, we're at $37.50 per guy. So we're probably gonna end up somewhere around $3,000 a guy for $15,000.
We would, but
then
we would cut
$3,000 expenses.
Yeah, we would cut that probably about in half. So we would walk away about $1,800, somewhere around there, because we would take the rest of that, and that would pay like insurance.
Okay, so you had health insurance.
Well, no, we had
Yeah, you got to have liability insurance.
Liability and car insurance and stuff like that.
Okay.
It would pay for that.
In your heyday, and you don't have to tell me the real truth, but I want to know, and if you don't want to answer, you don't have to answer. That when the Naked Karate Girls were making the most amount of money, were you making over $100,000 a year playing music?
I was very close.
Very close.
Close.
But you're also, you got expenses, you got all kinds of other things. So you're making almost $100,000.
Close to it.
And that's enough to not work.
Yeah.
That's enough to put you in that Jeep.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's go. There's a couple things I want to discuss. Okay. One of them that's never discussed is it looks great. I'm Tim from Naked Karate Girls. I'm gigging all over the place.
Yeah.
What about the family? Tell me about your children. Because people they forget you ain't home.
Right. I'm not home.
And when you are home, you're tired as hell.
Yeah. A good portion of the time I was tired.
Tell me about your family.
So my wife and I, Natalie, we've been married for 27 years.
Yep.
Love you, babe. She is my
Natalie.
Yeah. She's my advisor, I call her. We've got 2 kids together. I've got a 24-year-old daughter and a 21-year-old son.
Yes.
And they were 8 and 5 probably when I started Naked Karate Girls. Yeah. So they've always kind of grown up with it. Yeah. And the funny thing is we would get, goofy stuff. We would order, I need funny glasses. So I'd order on Amazon.
Just add it to your regular order.
And it would come in, and it was always just like crazy stuff coming in the door from Amazon. And, the kids were always just like, oh, okay, it's another, it's a big goofy butt for dad. Okay. Mm-hmm. Oh, look, so the kids really didn't realize.
No, it's just daddy's job. It's just your gig, man. Yeah. Right. Man, I raised 4 kids, and all my kids, I've been doing this professionally for 42 years.
42 years.
So all my kids are like, they just knew that like between 4 and 7, Fridays and Saturdays, quiet time, daddy's taking his pre-gig nap.
Yes.
Yeah. So, it's like that. So Zeke, is the phone working? Let's see what happens. I'm going to call someone. You're not going to know who it is.
Okay.
And let's just see if you can identify this person. And we'll talk to him on the phone just for a second. See what happens. Zeke, you got it up? Can you hear it ringing? Okay, let's see.
Oh,
caller.
Hello. Is this Tim?
This is
Tim. It's Jim Miller from the Dangerous Gym Show. This is Tim Goldriner from the menu.
Tim Goldriner.
We'll put his picture up in post-production.
There you go.
I'm sitting with Tim Anderson from the Naked Karate Girls. So, Tim, I have some...
Hey, Timmy, how you doing, man?
I am doing wonderful. Thank you.
I have some questions for you that I want... These are... I didn't prep Tim in advance for these questions.
Yeah.
But there's no doubt, Tim, you are the biggest and best entertainer ever in Cincinnati, and you've brought more smiles to faces than anybody. I will tell you that.
Oh, gosh, Jim.
Oh, thank you.
I know.
Well, thank you so much.
Yes,
I know you're talking to Tim Anderson.
Yeah,
right?
No, I'm talking to Tim Goldriner. So now here's what I want to ask you, Tim. This is a serious question. I want a serious answer.
What is that, sir?
So the Naked Karate Girls have been around for 17 years. I know the menus have been around a lot longer than that.
Yeah.
Right? How many years on the menus, Tim?
Coming up in June, we'll be celebrating 42 years on June 3rd.
Yeah. Now, so my question, and I'd like an honest answer. When you and Tim Anderson, you haven't heard the interview yet.
No.
But Tim definitely said that you and the menus were a huge influence, as well as the Beastie Boys, when the Naked Karate Girls came out. So when they came out, and all of a sudden, other people in Cincinnati are kind of like wearing the costumes like you're known for doing. Did you have any bitterness about that, or how did you feel when you saw the Naked Karate Girls coming out? Basically copying off you.
Oh, I know, and I love all the guys that have been in that organization, except for the one that pushed me off stage that night. I don't know who that guy is.
Did somebody push you off? Did somebody push you off stage? Tell me that story.
Oh, that's a low part of the Naked Karate Girls.
So tell me what happened.
You know
Tim.
what?
Let's discuss this.
I don't want. I don't have it. I'm a forgiver, man. Yeah. It stung for a minute, but hurt my back and kind of jacked me up for a second, but I forgive and forget because everybody has moments
listen, man. I'm not gonna let this pass. I need to understand. Now, whose gig was it? Tim Anderson, speak up.
I'll do this one. For Tim. It was Red's opening day.
Yes.
We were over at Jefferson Hall.
Yes.
I had jumped off of stage to go change, so I didn't see it happen, but what I was told was somebody popped up on stage.
Yes.
And our guitarist at the time didn't know who it was
Yes.
and just immediately pushed him off.
Yes.
Next thing you know, he turns around and sees Tim Goldriner laying on the ground.
no.
He's like,
Oh, no.
oh shit.
Okay.
I just pushed the godfather of cover
Cincinnati
bands
music.
of Cincinnati music off the stage.
Right.
And he was like freaking out about it, but he had to maintain kind of a
Who, Tim?
composure.
Yeah.
Our guitarist.
Oh,
did.
of course.
Yeah.
It's Tim Goldriner. What
And
the hell?
yeah, and
All right.
Tim Goldringer had a bunch of friends there, and they were
Yes.
ready to pound him, and
Yes.
so we had to calm
All right.
everybody down.
But Tim, how long ago was this?
Oh, that was how long ago with that, Tim? You say?
That would have been probably your first year out of the gate, probably about
Oh, yeah.
3
Yeah.
months.
Oh, so it was a long time ago.
long
Way
time.
long.
yeah.
So Tim, you were, let's just say, you were a different person then too than you are now, right?
I've tried to maintain a certain respect.
Yes.
Honestly, it was, I just saw these signs that said, come on up and dance or whatever
Oh,
the heck
yeah.
they said. And
So
I'm
what
like,
did you really
I saw
think,
these
Tim?
guys.
What did you really think when they came out? Did it bug you at all?
When you originally
When they
saw,
came out?
when you originally
they-
saw the
when
Naked
you
Karate
originally
Girls.
saw the Naked Karate Girls, did it bug you that look? Let's be honest. They're basically 4 Tim Goldriners on the stage when they used to do. What were your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I was told in a matter of words, and I mean, it's we're all in this community together. We're
Yeah,
not changing the world with our music,
Right.
playing cover music, and it was like, wow, these guys are doing something really similar to what I was doing in a different aspect. We're going to do this, and I had heard through the grapevine that we need somebody out front that like Tim Goldriner, and but we're all gonna dress up and do it. You take it as flattery or whatever, but shit, everything's borrowed, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss on this thing, but everything
you
is
can.
borrowed.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, Milton Berle wore a dress way before I ever did and did comedy, and I took it to an extreme in the '90s to live outside of something that anybody can play in jeans and a t-shirt and
That's
look
right.
at their pedal board.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with
I
that.
have never looked
Bingo.
at a pedal board. I have constantly put the audience first,
Yes.
Yes.
and hopefully the bandmates that I've played with the menus have always put the audience first,
Of
because
course.
we're not there for us.
I get it. We discussed
We
that.
are there for an entertaining experience, make them walk out. And my goal is to basically make people wince and laugh at the same time.
Yes. I get it.
They want to go, oh my gosh, what is this? And then they go, holy crap, I didn't even realize I'm having the time of my life, and I'm going to bring back 10 more people to show them
That's right.
the experience that I'm having now.
I get it,
Yep.
man. And we talked about that. Now, let me ask Tim Anderson and Tim Goldriner the same question. I probably know the answer. You guys, you both had a lot of costumes and all that. Did you ever wake up in the morning and you go, I just want to sing in my jeans. I really don't want to do all this bullshit. Is that Tim Anderson, you're first?
I will say
Did that
yes.
ever cross your mind?
Yes, it has, because I got to put on this suit and I have to do this outside in the summer. Hate that.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah, that was when I hated dressing up.
What about you, Tim Goldriner? And have you ever think, man, I just want to just get up there in my jeans and sing some songs, man. All these costume changes. Tell me.
Well, you know what? I switched gears about almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Where I get the chance to do that. And 25 years ago, I put together an outfit called Curly and the Cue Balls, where
Yes.
I get the chance to wear a tuxedo and
Yes.
croon and sing the best of the best of the greatest American songbook. And so I don't look at things where I have to do it. I look at things where I get to do it.
Uh-huh. I love that, man.
I get to do things, man. You know what? We don't have much time.
Yeah.
And I've been doing this well over half my life. I've
Yeah.
been in the same band since high school and senior year. The menus were formed in '83, and I did wear just shorts and a t-shirt for probably a decade. And
But you're still kicking those balloons, though.
Oh yeah. I mean, at 60 years old, still being able to put my foot and get some air and do cartwheels and ride handstands on skateboards and swing from trapeze
I
and
love that, man.
and do this stuff. But I look at I don't have to do it. I want to do it because that is the entertainment aspect of the quality I try to do
I get it.
to make people excited about something and make them go, wow, what is coming next?
I think so.
Can't wait to see what is coming next.
And I think the three of us can all agree, me, you, and Tim Anderson, now of the Whammies, that I feel like I was put here for this. For one part of my life, I was put on this earth to front the band.
Yeah.
You feel that way, Tim?
Yeah, I actually do. Do
you feel like this is, and what about you, Timmy Goldriner? Don't you feel like this God led you to this? I know you do already, but.
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
I've become very spiritual.
Yes.
And I'm very thankful and grateful. I mean, the gratitude I have to be able to still be relevant.
Yeah.
And I'm playing 60s, 70s, and 80s music that a lot of these kids think it's one of our tunes.
Yeah, I get it, man.
You know what I mean? Oh, my God, that was a great song. When did you guys put that out? Yeah, well, I learned this song in high school. You know what I mean? It's like some of these songs, but like being able to do these solo gigs has been an inspirational turn.
Yes.
That has, playing these smaller pubs and clubs. I go to 35 different nursing facilities. I just loaded out of one today, and I'm playing for the best generation. I mean, we're a bunch of pansy, wuss type people. We have not lived anything. Everything is at our fingertips. And I talked to a person today that was 99 years old.
Wow, I love that.
It was absolutely floored. And really the smiles for miles today, man.
Yeah,
and that's the way it is. Some of these places I go to, man, I'm full lockdown dementia. They call it the neighborhood, so to speak, where they're locked down and I get a chance. I get to do it.
Yeah,
I have to say that. I get to do these kind of things. It changes perspective on any age. I think preschool I get little kids in the morning, seniors in the afternoon, a bunch of drunk people on the weekend.
I love that.
And they all walk kind of funny and they might wet themselves. I'm just playing different tunes, man.
Sure, I get it. So we wanted
making them happy.
Yeah, we wanted to check in with you, man, because I think Tim Anderson and I both agree you are the best entertainer that Cincinnati has ever had. And I wanted to just get your opinion on the Naked Karate Girls. It sounds like you were flattered by that and
imitation.
Yeah, if you were flattered by that.
I mean, they're doing a totally different. They're doing a similar thing. They're doing it in a different way, and they multiple bands and
high level, man. Though, right? I agree.
Yeah, they're doing multiple bands and franchising and doing what they do. I mean, I don't put down anybody for being. I mean, what I learned in this game first was the business end of it, because a lot of the kids that, were in this game when I started out are either dead in rehab or just gave up because they didn't have the drive. The drive and knowing the fact that you get to do this.
I love that.
It's God spoken. And I don't want to preach God, but I tell you what, you're not going to do this without a higher power. And then once again, John, Jim, we're doing, getting sober.
Yeah.
Back in 15, changed my perspective on a lot of things.
You too.
I know. I mean, I'm coming up in April. I have 10 years of sobriety.
I love that, brother.
Sober.
Congratulations, you too.
And then we just wanted to check in with you because we're doing this live now. And Timmy, I'm hoping to have you on the Dangerous Gym show soon. And thank you.
I thoroughly enjoy that. You know why? Because Tim Goldriner loves Jim Miller.
So you should know that Tim and I text all the time, and I always tell him that. So
and that's all we say back to one another, and that brightens my day. And I know that someone is in my corner, and I'm in theirs as well.
Well, thank you, my brother. We're gonna take a short break here,
man.
Love your show.
Thanks, Tim.
Okay, bye, guys. Take care.
Bye.
Okay, we're going to take a short break, and then we're going to come back because there's other things that I have. I'm not done with you yet, Tim Anderson.
Okay.
We're going to do more of the meat. There's more meat coming up. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back to wrap it up with my great friend, Tim Anderson. Stick around. It's the Dangerous Gym Show.
Nothing better than a nice meditation on a Ouija board after a thrilling interview.
Oh, we're meditating. Yes.
What is that beautiful smell?
Well, that's fresh rain from Wildberry.
Is that the company that delivers incense straight to your door from Oxford, Ohio?
Yes, it is.
Share the passion for fragrance. It's Wildberry.
The sad part.
This is the end.
This is a song. Okay, welcome back to the Dangerous Gym Show. I'm here with my guest, Tim Anderson. Don't forget, if you're watching out there, you too can do a podcast here. We want you to come in. You can use these mics. We can set this place up for you any way that you want, and you can do your own podcast. We can provide a producer. We can provide music. We can give you another person to help you with your podcast. So if you're still listening to this, you also can do it right here. Secondarily, if you have any questions for me about any subject, I will answer them on our next episode. You can email me at askdangerousgym@gmail.com, askdangerousgym@gmail.com. And you can find this studio on Facebook at URock2 Studios. We're here. We have rehearsal spaces. We have podcasting. We have all that stuff. So if you're out there in listening land or YouTube land or wherever you're at, remember that you too can do this. Okay?
You too on YouTube.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Yeah.
Now, we just talked about 17 glorious years, man.
17 years of doing
when
it.
you didn't even have to work. You probably do you have money saved from this experience?
A little bit.
Okay. So you have some money saved, a little bit, and probably more than we know. Because if you're cut from the same cloth your dad was, you're still using coupons and all that crap?
Yeah.
Costco shopping?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so let's talk about this. So now we're down the road, and I don't want to get into the politics of the band, right?
Mm-hmm.
I only want to talk about you and the decisions that you had to make. So now you're down the road, and I will say one thing.
Okay.
Here's what I want to say. I saw you guys last year. So people think it's all glamorous and glory to be in the Naked Karate Girls. I saw you guys. It was a Bengals pregame. You guys were down on Fountain Square. It was early as shit in the morning. Yeah. And you started at 10 a.m. and there was maybe 50 people, maybe if that, right? And so people out there, it's not all like those pictures we put up there.
Exactly.
It's nothing like that.
Not every time.
There was a lot. And I noticed at that time, you guys that was work, brother. That was not, hey, let's go to Ohio State and wear the horn hat. You know, that was work. It was hard work.
It was.
And you guys opened up with your Motown thing. So let me ask you, I noticed that there was another band member added to the band.
Yes, there's quite a few more.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the singer.
T-Bone.
T-Bone. Now, T-Bone, Tyler was in your production crew, if I'm not mistaken.
He was our light man.
And then he came on, and I noticed that he was doing a lot of singing and doing some other stuff. So
yeah. So we started him
Is that somebody's son in the band?
Yeah, that's Jimmy's son.
Okay, that's fine.
That's Jimmy's son. Mm-hmm. And he started off doing our lights. Then he did a half an hour stint of music with the band. And then when COVID happened, we realized, okay, everything's shut down. Right. Well, we had all the shows from COVID.
Right.
Then in 2021, we were already booked in 2021. Right. Everything from 2020 got moved over to 2021.
Yeah, so now you're slammed.
Now we're slammed.
Oh, now you got two bands out there.
We had to realize we have to split into two bands. We need two of them to fill up all these dates.
Okay.
And so that's when Tyler was like, I can do it.
Ready.
I can
do the show.
This.
Okay. Yeah. So let's talk about the end of your Naked Karate Girls career. I know that when you're quitting a band like that's been your identity for your whole life, and you're getting paid good. I don't want to go into the specifics of why you decided to quit. Mm-hmm. I just want to talk about you. And one day, I wrote a song when I was in Leap Skyward called Deep Dark Moment. The deep dark moment arrives, it may be in anything, but one day you're in the band, and then another day you're like, man, I think I want to quit.
Yeah.
I don't want to take shots, but was there a moment, and how long ago was that when you said, man, I don't think I'm going to do this anymore?
About 2 or 3 years ago.
So you wrote it out. I mean,
I wrote it out.
And now we're recording this in February of 2025.
Yeah.
But you thought at this time, I don't want to do this anymore. This isn't as fun as it used to be. It's dominating my whole life. And I know there's other things I can do.
I started telling Natalie, my wife, I got to go to work.
Yeah, it's work.
And it's like, you're going to play in a band and you're entertaining people and you're calling it work.
Right.
And I was just like, because I'm kind of getting tired of it. And she was like, they got the golden handcuffs on you. You're making really good money.
You're making money.
It's hard to
golden handcuffs. I didn't know that's a term.
Yeah, that's what
okay. So you did it for a while.
We did it for a while.
And when did you decide that? Did you put in your notice? Like you did it like a professional. It's a hell of an organization, man. So you turned in your credit. When did you turn in your credit card first? What happened there?
No, I just basically was like, it was like June
of last year.
Yeah. was when I was like, I don't think I can do this
Okay,
anymore.
in your mind, it wasn't something you wanted to continue to do.
No. And,
Okay.
and my
And so
wife
then-
backed me up.
Then you tell Glenn,
Told
say,
Glenn.
hey man, I'm gonna write out. What'd you do? Finish the year?
So when we had talked about it, it was I can't keep up with everything that y'all are doing. I'm starting to get a little bit older.
Yes.
Don't have the energy that I used to. We're playing every Friday and Saturday night. I'm missing a lot of
People don't
birthday
understand
parties.
that. Kids, wives,
yeah.
grandkids, whatever you got going on. Yeah.
I miss a lot of that stuff.
Right.
And then there was a lot of traveling going on.
And so were you like I want to play less, or I want to
said,
get off the
I just
train?
want to get off the train.
Yeah.
I don't want to hate you guys. I
get
don't
it.
want to start really hating you. I want to still love you and still be your friend and everything.
Got it.
And so it was just, I was like in June, I was like, I'm giving my 6-week notice.
And what 6 weeks? And when was your last show?
My last show was New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve.
We
Smart.
came to
Your $15,000 New Year's Eve gigs.
we came to a
Brilliant.
We came to an agreement of, he wanted me, I wanted to leave by July 1st. I wanted to be out. And he was like, well, do you think maybe we can keep you until the end of the year?
Write it out. Yeah.
And we had a whole thing and written out a whole like kind of contract of I'll play out until the end of the year.
Right.
I don't have to learn some of the new songs, which
Right.
I wasn't agreeing with some of the stuff they were doing.
Yes.
And I'll perform until the end of the year.
All right, let me speak on Glenn's behalf.
yeah.
As a band leader, let me speak on Glenn's behalf. I don't want if he's got gigs booked for the Naked Karate Girls, it's up to him to provide a quality product.
Exactly.
He's got his ass on the line, his relationships with these people.
Right.
It's not you. It's
Right.
him. Right. So he has. I'm not surprised he wanted you to finish the year because you guys got professional commitments out there. I would say that to my guys too. Now we're no Naked Karate Girls, but he doesn't want to put a half-assed product up there either.
Right.
So you put in your notice, and then your last show was New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve was my last show.
Okay, and so then now you joined a band called the Whammies. Now, but prior to joining the Whammies, had you been talking? I know the one guy, I forgot his name. What's the old lead singer for the Whammies called?
Mike Zapp.
Mike Zapp. So did you know that Mike was going to leave the band?
No, I didn't. And so I told him, let's see, I went back to June. In June, told Glenn and Jimmy, I want out. I'm done.
Yep.
Let me keep you till the end of the year. Okay,
Yes.
cool. We'll keep it quiet for a while.
Great.
But come September, I'm going to publicly tell everyone that I'm leaving.
Because you maybe want to look for another gig. Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe not. But
Yeah.
but you want to get it off your chest
Yeah.
and all that.
And so September came, put it out there on Facebook that I'm leaving.
Yeah.
And Mike, I've known Mike, in passing.
Right.
And I've known him from playing a corporate gig. We played a corporate gig together.
Yes.
So he reached out to me and was like, hey, I see that you're leaving Naked Karate Girls. Are you completely done with music?
Yeah. Yeah.
I said, no. He goes, well, Whammies is starting to become a little too much for me.
I understand.
He's working. He's doing a lot of traveling as well.
Of course. Yeah.
And it was
For whatever reason, he has his reasons.
It was hard
Right.
it was hard for him to say I've got to quit.
I get it, man.
Yeah, and so he was like,
So he helped you get in the Whammies.
He helped
Mike
me
Zapp
get into the Whammies.
Helped
Yep.
you get in the Whammies.
Yep.
And so very super professional on his part.
Yep.
Say, hey, I'm leaving, but I
Who
got a
I've got.
dude. He used to be in a band called the Naked Karate Girls. Maybe he can do it.
Yeah.
So we talked about this off camera, but let's talk about some of the different challenges, because the Whammies is a different ball game.
Mm-hmm.
You have to sing. You actually have to sing better, I feel.
and I love it.
Because there's no tracks going on with the Whammies.
Right.
Maybe some, but nothing at the level of the Naked Karate Girls.
Right.
Including backing vocals and things. And you're not able to hide behind the costumes. You're not shooting toilet paper. And I'm sure that you're not going to try to take that same persona from one to the other. That is a Naked Karate. Actually, to be clear, that's probably a Naked Karate Girls property.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit.
Kind of.
I mean,
but you don't want to do that anyway, man. There's no reason.
Yeah, the first thing right here is, I grew a beard because I
didn't-
want to.
You want to do something. Right.
It's a little bit different. I
understand.
wasn't able to grow a beard for Naked Karate Girls. It didn't
Just
fit.
didn't fit. Well, all those costumes.
What I was
changes.
doing, yeah.
I get it, man. So with the Whammies though,
So now-
this is different. Now you got to sing.
Now I've got to sing. and
It's harder songs, right?
It's a little bit harder songs.
Right.
It's a lot of fun.
And did you feel like at the autism benefit? Do you feel
did yesterday.
a little bit naked and exposed?
I did a little bit.
Yeah.
I will say I did a little bit feel that way. But it's like you said, I'm actually singing songs now compared to,
Right.
it's like the joke that I always made was with Naked Karate Girls. Yeah, I was singing a few songs, but I'm not really showing my vocal range by doing Cardi B. You know,
I understand. I get it, man. So, you know, at some point, man, and it's nothing against any other band out there.
Right.
At some point, if it's not for you anymore, it's not for you. I don't care if it's marriage. I don't care if it's fixing computers. If it ain't for you, like Tim Goldriner said, life's short. We don't have much time.
Short, right.
If it ain't for you, it ain't for you. And so the Whammies are working less, but it's still keeping you in your creative vibe. And I know you're also doing a solo. You're playing some solo stuff and doing some other things.
Yep,
man.
playing.
And it probably. At first, I'm sure it was hard to let go. It's always been your identity.
Yeah.
And that was a heavy phone. When you sent a text or whatever that was they in recovery, we call that the 500-pound phone because you don't pick it up. And then when you finally hit that send, you felt good, but also like, what have I done? What am I doing? And all that. I'm sure there was a lot of soul searching and you felt like it was right.
Exactly.
Okay.
And my wife was the same way. She very much played devil's advocate for
I get it, man. I understand.
Yeah.
And also the family, she has your back.
Everybody knows. Yeah.
She has your back. You guys can do whatever you want on the weekends. And I'm sure the Whammies aren't working like the Naked Karate Girls were, but it's still keeping you in it. And I know that anyone you ask, any of the founding members would say they never could have got as far as they've gotten and are still at the level that they're at without you in the band. Never could have happened.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great story. I think it's awesome that you go from I don't want to say nothing, but you really came from an obscure cover band into the biggest, best cover band that's ever been in Cincinnati to this point.
One of the big ones,
yeah. I mean, there's other big ones, but nobody has done it on the level that you've done it for that many years and with that type of crowd. No one's done that, and I know you won't say that. There's no way I'll ever get you to say that into the microphone.
Yeah.
But I will say that, and love them or hate them, the Naked Karate Girls are an absolute Cincinnati institution. As are the Whammies. So I think you've done a nice. I think you've done a nice. You're smart and professionally. Yeah. You didn't go with some band that has 10 songs and now you got to go to a bunch of rehearsals. All you're doing is stepping into a rock and roll machine that's already humming.
Yeah,
and all you got to do is follow along and sing the songs for now.
And the funny thing is, it's like I'm doing a lot of the '80s songs, and I didn't realize that I remember these songs.
Yeah,
it's like Spandau Ballet. True. So
great
true,
song.
Funny how it seems, always in time, but never in time for dreams. It's like,
I love that.
I didn't realize I know that song. I know that one.
I love that, man. So now you're in the Whammies. You played a few shows. You got a few shows under your belt. This is going to be your long-term gig.
Yeah.
I don't know where the Whammies are online or whatever, Facebook or
thewhammies.com.
Whammies.com.
And then Facebook.
WHAMMIES, Whammies.com.
Yep.
I appreciate you coming. It was great to get to know you. Yeah, great to know you.
Seriously.
And I know that me and you have some additional post-production work to do when we get done.
Yeah.
I need to thank Zeke in the booth back there, Scott Ellis, of course. Let's get that Whammies picture up. I wanted to show you something.
Oh, yeah.
Zeke, now here's what I want you to see. Zeke, can you zoom in on that or is it not possible?
What do you want to zoom in on?
Do you see my great friend, Jamie White Minnick, is right in the front there.
Oh, yes.
Now, that's my ex-sister-in-law. Really? Look at her. Look at that picture of Jamie White Minnick. She is singing along. Do you see her in the front?
I do.
She's looking to the side. I don't know what song that is.
And she was at the show yesterday.
She was working.
Kenny Anderson.
Yeah, but that is the greatest picture of my longtime friend, Jamie White Minnick. So again, if you're watching out there, if you're still watching U-Rock Studios, if you want to do your own podcast, you can. We have a full slate of rehearsals. We have 2 rehearsal spaces, all the PA, drums. All you got to do is come in, turn on the heat, flip on the PA, sit behind a drum kit that's already provided for you. You are ready to rock. Tim, I really appreciate you spending so much time here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Tim Anderson. I hope somebody learned something from this episode. This is the Dangerous Gym Show. We're going to go out with one of Cincinnati's legends, Rock Duster. Turn it up, Zeke. Listen to this one. Stick around. We'll see you next time. It's Tim Anderson, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay.
I figured you'd end with Prisoner.
Put that on another.